Yes.
All right, so if you're hanging out on Instagram, again, apologies, we're delayed a minute or two here. But if you'd like to share your favorite things to follow on Instagram, throw it in the comments there.
Throw up and everything.
All right, we're up?
Yep.
Okay.
In 3.
All right, sounds like we're up. Thank you. Welcome to the 034 Motorsport Live, episode number 118. And I'm Javad. This is Nate. I'm the CEO. Nate's head of all things software here. We're here to answer all your questions about 034 Motorsport, products, services, our history, our philosophy. If you like us, if you hate us, we want to hear about all of it. And we'll be happy to talk to you about it. We take a no BS approach to responding to questions. And we typically like to just, cut to the heart of the matter. Bless you. And yeah,
That was for Nick. I mean, you guys.
if you guys can hear, there's people sneezing. Yeah, I don't know. I think you guys probably know that about us by now. Is we're really not here to like bullshit or try to trick anyone into thinking anything's real that's not real. Our motto is substance performance. So everything we do is based on the substance and substantive results. And it's even in our mission statement. So that's what people
Yeah, we had it all up around this room for a while.
Mm-hmm. So please put your questions or comments into the browser of your choice, social media interaction device that you're using, and we will transcribe those into devices here, and then Nate and I will respond. So thank you for joining us.
And keep in mind we have a lot of questions coming in, so we're not skipping questions. We just literally have pages of questions, and sometimes we can't get through them for the by the end of the stream.
We have a lot, and as we've been saying, we've been backing away from a lot of the update questions. This isn't designed to be like the update hour. So, and a lot of the updates, there's just no good answers. So we'll do our best. If we think we can add something meaningful, we will. This was a question from last week. Is there a power difference between stage 1 and 1 plus for the EA839 on the same octane? 91.
Yeah, no, there's no difference in power on those, and why you'll see on the website too. We don't claim anything otherwise.
Okay.
The only difference is where we are fuel limited, which is on the E85 file. So that one you will get a substantial bump in the mid range on that.
Yeah. The whole 1 plus and 2 plus is about taking advantage of the extra power that can be created by flowing more E85.
Yep.
E85 is the flow limited fuel option. With 91, 93, there's just no fuel limitation. So turning up the boost and adding more fuel, there's plenty of fuel for the amount of boost that the stock turbine can produce. So it's done. Do you guys do custom tunes? If I were to get an upgraded throttle body, no. If we did custom tunes like that, none of you would be here watching us. There would be no 034 Motorsport Dynamic Plus tuning program because we'd literally be fucking around some B5, right now on the dyno. So,
I mean, we have throttle body calibrations for the applications that make sense and benefit from it, and with our kits. But to do one-off stuff, no, there's no way.
You should get the throttle body, that we have a tune for. There's really no point in doing anything different. You're not gonna make a lot more power or any more power really with a different or bigger throttle body.
Throttle bodies on turbo on forced induction motors are often not your restriction.
Yeah. Um, what is the transmission limit on these B9 cars? You guys think it will hit 9 stock transmission, upgraded turbo only? Will you be building upgraded transmission internals?
They already are hitting 9s with that. So yeah,
we have not seen any limits with the stock transmission or the diffs or any of these cars. Yeah,
the only weak link we're seeing right now is axles.
Sure.
So the transmission's overpowering axles. Usually it's either axles or traction are the limits we're running into. Good place to be.
Eventually, we will probably start to see that, but the ZF8 is inherently a very strong transmission. It's what Audi used to use on the higher horsepower cars.
There's a couple of different flavors of it, but yes, the general bones of it is it's a very robust transmission.
Yeah. So, at some point it probably will, and we'll all have to figure it out then. But for now, it's not an issue. How did you guys develop AMAX for the B9 ZF8? Using computers?
Yeah. Lots of data. So, I mean, that was done with a number of poles per gear in the same conditions. And then we stack those gears on some spreadsheets and charts, check acceleration rates, and then we will work on the actual shift points based on that and the transition speed in the AMAX. So, I mean, it's all data driven and how we get to the our fastest results. So, I'm not sure beyond that what you're looking for an answer, but yeah, no, it's based on lots of testing and R&D.
Yeah, I think this guy was asking specific to the SQ5, which didn't come with the factory.
The SQ5, there are some vehicles that it's not enabled from the factory, so we have to go into the TCU and turn on those maps and calibrate those maps to basically enable AMAX. So we will do that on TCUs where we can. In this case, it's not too big of a deal for us.
Yeah. AMAX is a factory shifting strategy.
Yep.
So no aftermarket tuner created AMAX or invented it. It is a factory feature, and so once the feature is in there, then we can go tune it and tweak it, and then we can take that code and usually on the factory cars, it's not for every gear. So
yeah, and we have to go through and recalibrate it for the number of gears we want it to AMAX shift in and how we want it to shift.
Yep.
The pressures, the speeds, all that.
First time I ever felt it was in the B9 S4 when we bought it in like 2017.
Stock, yeah.
And it felt like it sent the chills up my spine. It feels like a manual clutch when it slips.
Yeah, it's a very
that was
different.
The first time.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was called AIM. I mean, it wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, it's a very different feel on the hip. For sure.
Mm-hmm. It definitely felt faster though.
Yep.
When I would launch it, it was definitely quicker.
And you look at our videos; it's a lot. We do a lot faster transition too, so you don't even feel that as much anymore. Compared to stock, it's a really quick into the next gear and going.
What's the biggest limitation with the 710 810 cams?
So this would be the TTE 710 on the B9 cars.
So they asked cams.
It's just the turbo itself. I mean, we're basically getting everything we can out of that turbo. So there's only so much in that packaging, wheel size and flow size you're going to get.
I mean, there are limitations everywhere. Like, if you took a TTE 710 and you could somehow move a lot more air through the motor or made the volumetric efficiency of the motor even better, then even more power would be produced than what the 710 can produce. But since the motor is a relatively fixed variable here, then the 710 produces the power it produces as much as it can within the limits of the motor and everything that's supporting that turbine. It's not to say that there aren't ways to get even more power out of a 710 in the future. They're going to be very diminishing returns. Probably not worth it. But, you need an intake. You're going to make more power if you have a racing cat and, that kind of stuff. But the factory Audi motors at this point in the history of internal combustion engine motors flow very well, very, very well. These are good flowing, high flow motors. In the old days, you used to have a lot of opportunities to go into a motor, port and polish it, and make the valves bigger.
Well, and cam timing and tuning used to be a huge thing.
Well, cam timing was the camshaft was fixed. now you have variable.
Angle and lift.
You can completely go from an emissions cam to a racing cam just through the programming of them. So it's a totally new for engines. You go back to like the old,
Even like B5 era where they had variable cams, but it was like a switch.
that was still a lot better than what we had before that, which was like the original Volkswagen 2-valve motors, like the Audi i5 2-valve. I mean, you could go in there and literally double the flow of that cylinder.
Yeah.
But with the 3.0T, I really don't think there's much opportunity.
So let's see if we had our old like variable or adjustable cam sprocket here.
Yeah.
Let's see it. But yeah, it used to be a lot harder with wrench timing than this.
Someone's asking about B9 2.0T developments being put on hold indefinitely. No, nothing's on hold indefinitely. I don't know. We are, like we say every week, we are prioritizing. I mean, at some point we could just say we're not going to do it. Maybe we should at this point. Just say like so that people stop asking and thinking.
But yeah, we're not trying to like twist expectations either. We're very clear with the things we are and aren't working on.
It's just not a priority for us as a company. We're doing 3.0T tuning. B8 is still really big for us. B9 is still really big for us. And then now we're working on the new, Mark 8, 8Y Evo generation cars. So, it's not on hold indefinitely. It's still in our tuning program. But no, it's not. It's just not a priority, fortunately. So, I mean, if you really want to go use IE and you're in a big hurry, then definitely go that route. 100% would recommend that.
We are getting a lot of questions about that turbo inlet too.
Great.
What turbo inlet?
We'll talk about it soon. What else? Every week, someone asks about, advanced launch for B9. Yes, something we will be releasing. Are you guys still working on intake for the C7 3.0T? Yes, we are. I think we're finalizing the final prototype and design right now, and we'll be moving to production soon. Thinking about going 710 on my B9 S4. How safe is that power level on the stock engine and trans? It's very safe. We have many customers running running the 710, which is what we have our tune for. And it's very safe, completely safe. Motors do blow occasionally, and even on stock motors have issues, but we've seen nothing to believe that the 710 power level is outside of factory levels of reliability. So it's a great option. All right, the turbo inlet. So we are going to release this hopefully this week. They're here, they're in stock. So I think we're just gearing up and getting our website updated and things like that. So this is our B9 3.0T factory replacement inlet. This is not the SuperDuper. So this comes when you buy it with a inlet adapter for the stock turbo. And so this flows a little bit better than the factory unit. The factory unit is pretty decent flowing already, but we did get some improvements on the factory unit. The flow of the factory unit is largely determined by the inlet size and the outlet size. So unless you can really change those, the flow doesn't change a lot. However, this is an inlet adapter for the Pure 750. And once you put that in there, you make the turbo side opening bigger, and you do gain substantial flow. So this would be a nice option for anyone with a Pure 750 who already has our intake, who's just looking to, have a good high flowing option that's all factory compatible. You can even run the factory intake.
And of course, all the 1+, 2+ guys, or stage 1 not through 2+.
Yes.
Yeah, this is perfect for stock turbo.
Yeah.
Any stock turbo, you're good to go. these are really nice cast aluminum, really good quality. We have the slotted lower hole, so it makes installation much easier.
Yeah, we retained all. I think every clip and bracket revision provision's been retained.
It is,
all
yeah.
your harnesses, your
It's factory fit. Everything fits in there. It's. I mean, the cross sectional flow area through here is substantially bigger than factory. So
do we have a stock one we can?
I don't know if you can kind of see how it kind of wiggles around a little bit to clear, but
Is there a stock
this
one?
is as big as you can fit. No, we don't have this. So anyways, do we know what the retail price is on that?
I don't have that.
Hopefully we can release more information about this in the next day or two. Since we're on new products, this is our brand new P34 for the B9 RS5. So this would be a lower cost option to our X34 that's been out. You guys probably know what the P34 is. It's nothing new. This is injection molded, rotomolded. I think the plastic is still injected into the rotomold, but
Fair enough.
it's ABS plastic, very factory type of fit and finish. Much higher flowing than the factory intake, and you get a lot more of the turbo sounds coming out through the openings. So we have various openings that allows a certain amount of sound out. There's plenty of room inside here, so this filter is not shrouded, and substantial power increase over factory. It comes with a silicone hose, so the cost savings are really the difference between the plastic and carbon fiber, and then the connector is also silicone. It's a reinforced, wire reinforced silicone, so it will not collapse. Very affordable intake, great performance. If you don't have to have, that carbon fiber goodness in your RS5, this is a great option. Let us know if you guys have any questions about either of these products.
There's a bunch coming in about.
So first of all, what intakes does that?
So this inlet will work with any intake that works with the factory inlet. So the outside diameter of the inlet on this inlet is the same as factory. So any of our existing intakes on the market, your factory intake, any aftermarket intake that fit with the factory turbo inlet will work with this.
Yep.
This is not the SuperDuper. The difference between this and the SuperDuper, which hopefully the SuperDuper will be out in the next month or so, is the SuperDuper inlet is much, much bigger, substantially bigger. So the SuperDuper inlet will require an intake designed to fit with it. So basically, we will offer intake options for the SuperDuper inlet. So you can install this in a bone stock car, or you can install this in a bone stock car with an aftermarket intake. It'll all fit. Okay. We will not be able to offer an adapter for the 710 with this particular configuration because the inlet's just too big.
Yeah, I mean, you can do the 750; it'll get you closer, but
you could.
It's just not going to be It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, you could still run it with a 750, just like you can run a stock in the 750. You just have to make sure.
710. I mean.
Sorry, with the 710, you just have to make sure that their sealing surfaces are lining up. We haven't tested it for that stuff, but in a pinch, it could work. All right.
Can you run an open air intake in hot climates? Be it enough.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can. All of our intakes, the S34s, are shielded to try and prevent, or they do prevent much of the hot air ingestion. So it's actually drawing from like the right front headlight area, and also retains the fresh air scoop and feed from the front of the car.
I think we're talking about that every week now.
Yep.
Even this intake is drawing fresh air from the factory provision.
Yep.
So from the front, core support, cold air is directed from the front of the car into here. So yeah. Any other questions?
I think
That's a bunch still. But
yeah.
I don't, is that top question, the inlet question, is that about B9 or is that?
That was about B9. Yeah, so as far as APR's intake being designed specifically for an inlet.
Well, that's what the SuperDuper is.
Yeah. Yeah, our SuperDuper will have a custom designed 034 Motorsport intake to work with the SuperDuper. It's possible the SuperDuper will work with other companies' inlets.
Some adaptation.
Yeah, we have no idea. I mean,
We maximized it for what we could.
yeah. We didn't make it any harder. I mean, everything's in the same spot. It's just bigger. So if theirs is in the same spot and the same size, it stands to reason it could fit.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of spots to put it there.
Yeah. Well, ignition cut, launch control. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Our forged rods and pistons in the works for B9 3.0T. We're definitely looking into rods. I'm not convinced pistons would be a good idea. The factory pistons are quite good, and they're usually not the problem. They are forged from the factory, so the rods are typically the one thing that need upgrading at some point. They're usually the weak thing. 2023 B9 S4. We should just have a recording. Yeah, 2023 B9 3.0T support. We do not have yet. Nobody has it. You can still use our tune.
Yeah, we'll be releasing. I mean,
We need to release.
yeah, it's
built-in.
we're going to be doing a ECU patch for that to get around the transmission limits. Right now, the problem is you can't flash the transmission on those vehicles. We are working on it. I don't have a fix or an ETA yet, so you will still be limited to the stock transmission torque level, regardless of what engine tune you put on. So we will be releasing an engine tune that removes that limitation for those select controllers.
Yeah. How much more headroom would you say injectors from B9 cars have when running fully 85? Not much. I mean, things are, pretty close to topped out in a safe way. But
Yeah.
There's no headroom as far as like.
No, that's why we have an E60 file on the S710. I mean, we're running it as much as we can. And the like the 1 plus and 2 plus stuff is, I'd say there's a little bit more headroom in there, but we don't want to overdo torque on the rods because that turbo can push more torque.
Are there people on beta tunes for TT810 or still only in-house cars?
No, we do not have a beta 810 file out in the wild right now.
No. We're still working on it. Congrats on the Audi 200 drag time on Hagerty. Amazing car. Yeah, this car belongs to Nick Scambluri, one of our employees who we've all known for a long time. The actual cool thing about the Hagerty piece was the 034 Motorsport presence overall. The 200 was obviously part of it, but that was our S3. That our marketing team was there. We got to participate in the event, putting it together and stuff. So that was really great. It's really rewarding for us. The 200 is just a custom built car that, like many of us over the years built cars like that, and Nick's kept his going. I think he's young and has extra energy or something.
The thing is
Couldn't do it
insane. I mean,
anymore.
they obviously we talk about it a little bit, but it's a very technologically advanced 200, and things got full drive-by-wire. Nick, built into things like that. So
Yeah.
it's a really neat build.
It's making a lot of power, and it's kind of using a lot of the modern day,
Yep.
tuning options that are out there. Like a really advanced standalone that could run like FSI,
Right. Yeah.
And he could probably convert it to FSI somewhere.
Sure. If you want to
He
get really
figure out how to
spicy.
machine an injector into the combustion chamber. But
Yeah, he's got full, drive-by-wire down to the cruise control, flat foot shifting, and all that, which you can see being used in the video. It's pretty cool.
and cars like that don't always hold together or cooperate, so thankfully it did.
Yes. Yeah, the last time he had it out, he blew up some transmission goodies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I think if you go on YouTube, there's stuff out there if you want to watch more stuff about it.
Can you guys address this one at the bottom?
Please address this person and tell him to email. He says this every week and will not read my comments to email.
You guys handle what's
My
this?
car keeps overboosting on your tune.
What does that mean? You need,
S5.
Yeah.
He comments every week saying that and does not email.
you need to email tuning out. We don't even know what car you have. I mean, it's an S5, but what kind of S5? Like what you need to go through tuning out. And we're not trying to be snippy here. I don't know. I honestly don't know how to help you without.
We
going through
don't do that type of tech support here on our YouTube channel. We don't do it on our Facebook. We don't do it on Instagram. I don't do it on my personal email, my personal Facebook. If you like came up to me on the street, I wouldn't be able to help you.
There's
So
nothing.
you need to just send us an email to help you.
The weeks of asking it here are not going to help. Well,
It's a shame to not get help.
No, we want to help
We
you.
want to help you.
Make sure you're going through tuning out, and then we will be working on it. I was actually just talking with my guys before I came in here about some guys that have had similar codes, and we are working on it and isolating it right now. But we don't know if that's what you're dealing with.
He says he has emailed it to 2022.
Okay.
Continue to email.
Yeah, well, we're working on it.
Great, then keep emailing.
Yeah, stay in tuning out, but there's nothing we can answer on this live stream.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm at the airport and I see Jeff Bezos, I'm not going to be able to ask him for a tracking order of Cliff Bars that I've been waiting for.
No, we want to help you.
Yeah, we definitely want to help.
We will do
We
everything
are
we can
here
to
to
get you
help.
sorted.
But we can only help through certain channels that ensure the best results for everyone. Will the B8.5 S4 be able to make as much power as the B9 Stage 3 ever? No.
I'm gonna go with no on that. I mean, I'm sure there's guys building one-off turbo things here and there, but as far as like an available, I'd say market achievable power
There
level.
is one modification. You engine swap a B9 3.0T into a B8.5 S4.
Super easy.
And then you will make the same power. It's just you'd have to change the supercharger. You'd probably have to turbocharge it, and at that point, it's going to be so customized that it's hard to argue whether it's still even a B8 anything or whether it was a sane or worthwhile effort. You could most certainly sell your B8.5 and buy a B9 and do the modifications for cheaper than getting a B8 to that power level.
I mean, the thing also is like the B8s are really quick still. I mean, they're like low 10s, mid 10s with a stock charge and whatnot. Like, there's still not a lot of B9s running that fast. I mean, they're fast cars. Both of them are very fast cars. But a fully strung out Stage 3 B9, that's gonna walk on a
And we're just in the early stages.
Exactly. This is like hybrid turbos number 1 and 2.
And these are like light bolt-ons.
Yep.
We're already getting this kind of popular. So, like we always talk about, the B8 3.0T has a totally different character and power band. The way it delivers power is hard to argue with. The lack of any kind of turbo lag at all is awesome on that car. But it's really tough to compete with a turbo. And then when you can just swap turbos. And then you're talking torque. Turbos make torque. They're great for that. That's why you don't see much of supercharged semis right now.
And it's also just the packaging. So you're back to an air-to-air intercooler, which is always an easy path to upgrade. That's one of the huge limitations on the supercharged motors. Is it's all just that little air water break in the intake.
Yeah. 8Y Mark 8 Tuning ETA. We have no ETA. We are working on it.
We will
This is a brand new thing. I'd love to think that we could have something out in a couple months or maybe 3 months, but we'll have to see.
Yep.
We're not going to release anything until it's right.
Right, and that
could
comes
take
down,
however long.
Yeah, and we're talking like altitude testing, crack testing. As very environmental tests as we can do. All of their normal, especially on a new platform release where we're building our, basically base, file structure for these cars. It takes lots of R&D, lots of effort.
Yeah, I mean, in Europe right now, you can go to any.
There's lots of guys claiming you can get a tune for it right now,
and they can tune your car on the dyno or flash it from something but they're not tested. These are just
there's very limited tuners that have had any real time on these motors calibration wise. So
it's been like 2 weeks.
Beware. Yeah, for I'd say for the 99% of the stuff you see out there for sale right now, literally they've never been able to flash the car until probably 2 weeks ago. So they obviously cannot have done any kind of endurance, testing.
And to tune the ECU, you need to be able to flash it.
Right. Of course, yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people realize that, but you can modify the calibration laptop, but then you have to be able to put that onto the ECU. That's a whole different story. So it's kind of like, editing a Word document without internet. You can edit it all you want on your laptop, but you're not going to be able to send it to anywhere else without some type of internet connection. And you could use like a floppy disk, but ECUs don't have floppy inserts, fortunately.
Not anymore. They got rid of those.
You guys are amazing. I have a ton of your products and tunes on my B9, and all work great. Customer service and tuning support has also been second to none. Mark Sturgeon. Thank you, Mark. That means a lot. Especially the customer service and tuning support. It's tough. It's a tough thing to do well, and we have a great group of. I guess they're all guys. I'll say they're, for the time being, unless any gals would like to apply. It's a great group of guys who are doing customer service and tuning support, and I know they all really care. So it's good. It's good to see that you've had a great experience. Thank you. Before bringing a used car for pre-purchase inspection, do you have any tips on what I can inspect before bringing it to you guys?
Bring it to us for the pre-purchase inspection. We've got a full service department that is very good at doing those PPIs.
Yeah, and it's not that expensive.
No, we do it pretty regularly. So if you're bringing it to us, just do that.
But I mean, if you wanted to do some simple things, obviously you could just do a visual inspection. But if you check for codes and there's no codes, that's a great first.
Yeah, bring a VCDS with you. Check some of the simple things just to try and corroborate the story. You can usually check fault codes. You can check launch counts, flash counts, that kind of thing. Yeah. Maybe poke around, see what kind of information you can garner from the car's history based on VCDS. I don't know what vehicle you're talking about, so that'll change a little bit. But bring a couple of tools with you. Bring a very inspective eye. And then, but we can certainly do a PPI here as well if you're local.
But these days, if there's almost anything wrong with the car, it will throw a code of some kind.
Yep.
Anything in the drivetrain, the functionality, electronics in the car.
Yep. And you can always, if you're wondering if, we have a number of customers that will email us VINs to see if it's previously tuned with us or anything. We're happy to help. We can answer that for you if you need.
Yeah. On B9 3.0T EA839 in the Southeast USA, do you recommend upping the viscosity of engine oil, stage 1 and 2? I was looking to get 5W40. Any thoughts? You could. I don't. In the Southeast, I don't think it gets that cold. I think, it's. If you're like Canada,
what times were you talking? Right, yeah.
No, I know, but I'm talking about 70 below. That's the kind of stuff that could really make a difference. But getting down into the 20s every once in a while.
I was actually watching. Oh god, which channel was it on YouTube? Practical Mechanics, Engineering Explained. I think it was. Yeah. He did a really good rundown on Mobil 1's lab. And I'm not saying to use Mobil 1. I'm just saying if you want to look at how some of the modern oils are developed and the standards that they meet and how some of the testing is done. We answer this question a lot, and that's actually why I watched that video recently. People always ask what's a good operating temperature, what's too hot.
Right.
You'd be pretty surprised what is the normal
that's what I would
tested
say.
standard. There's 350F or something is that's just normal, and you run it for 90 hours or 120 hours. It was way hotter than what a lot of you guys are worried about as far as oil levels. So feel free to try and absorb as much information as you can from that level of OEM testing.
And a lot of the conventional wisdom is based off of organic dyno oil or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, if you see,
it's not based on synthetic.
No, these are the synthetics, and there's all these different standards you can look at to pretty quickly garner an indication of what that oil's been tested to. But I mean, they probably had 30 bays outside of just open air dynos with vehicles just accumulating hundreds of thousands of miles. It's a pretty insane amount of development that goes into those standards.
It's almost like oil's a big industry.
It seems to be, yeah. Still.
Another one about do you see? Oh God.
Did I just kill it?
Fast.
Oh,
Somebody deleted it.
oh, sorry. I thought that was the oil question. I saw
you-
the 5W40.
Do you see any oil temp differences running E85 versus 93? Also, can you speak to 5W40 versus 30 oil versus 020 and the B9's when tuned?
We don't really play with oil weights much here, as we've talked about. We will use very high quality, Motul typically, or something to that level.
Usually,
oil-
if it has the OEM,
you'll see the
standard.
VW, I think
Yeah.
504.2 or something on these, or
if it meets
something
that
like
standard.
that. Yeah, but you'll see in your manual and whatnot what's required for a minimum level. As far as temperatures, sure, you will see different temperatures depending on the calibration. E85 is going to push more power through the motor. You're going to be making, overall more load, more, potentially more heat. So yes, you can see
It also runs more timing.
it runs more timing. So the
there's
actual combustion
less-
charge is cooler,
Yeah.
but it's offset by being a greater, amount of gas being combusted. So it can and will change depending on octanes and tunes and how you're driving, for sure.
Yeah.
You jump to this top one.
What hybrid?
Yeah, which hybrid turbos are we working on? So we have the 710. We are working on 810. Pure 750 and TS2 will come after that. And we will have various, configurations like what we will release next is the 710 tune with the factory cat.
Yeah.
For anyone who's interested in running that, which is frankly going to be a good option to be, to run clean and still make a ton of
Dogs power.
We will publish all the numbers. We have them ready to be published. Do you have cams coming for the 3.0 T Supercharged V6? Probably. We are currently not saying too much, but if it's worth it, we may release it.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is we need to thoroughly test and ensure that anybody can put cams in the motor, but do those cams actually make it better?
Yeah. Any gains to be had by cooling the charge temps by spraying water or water meth mix post the intercooler on the B9 3.0 T?
Again, we don't typically
We have to
recommend
talk about that.
water meth as one of the canned responses. We can just play the video. Water meth is something we do not typically recommend. Sure, it can and will alter your air intake temp and charge temperatures. Usually when those are altered, though, it's not an accurate representation of the actual charge temp. So a lot of times what happens is people will spray the water meth before the intake air temperature sensor. So then that air temperature sensor gets blasted with this, water methanol mixture. And what it ends up reading is not necessarily the air temp drop, but the evaporative temperature drop from that moisture evaporating off of the sensor, which will drop it way more than the actual air temperature itself has dropped. So that can be a little deceiving, and that's how some of these water meth guys say, like, "Oh, I picked up, all this timing and all this power," and that's usually from that, incorrect amount of air temperature drop being registered at the sensor. And sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. So, again, it all comes down to things that are outside of the ECU's control. You've now introduced a new fuel medium into the intake, and you're now altering a sensor reading that we're relying on. So it's a tough thing to recommend. We don't tune for it on almost anything here, or run it on anything here. So
Yeah, if it was 100 degrees outside and you sprayed water meth on your hand, your brain might think that the air around your hand is all of a sudden cooler.
that's why you have like tents with misting
Yeah.
stuff set up.
So that's what's happening to the ECU. The ECU thinks, oh, it's cooler. Let's give more time, but it's not actually cooler. But yeah, I don't recommend messing with water meth. I think if you can do E85,
Yep.
there's absolutely no reason for it. You're basically getting all the benefits of water meth by running E85. Wondering what your thoughts are on the TTE 810 file. I'm currently running the 810 on the 710 tune, and don't get me wrong, it's damn fast, but my friend's 650 horsepower stage 2 G80 is taking me with ease. So wondering how much of a power difference is actually there. I can't imagine it's going to give me much more power than the already 710 tune. Okay, well, if you use simple math, you'll be able to determine what the power difference between the 810 and the 710 is. Anyone want to guess?
Go with 100.
It's about 100 horsepower.
Yeah.
But it's not 100 horsepower everywhere. So, the 810 turbo will give up a little bit to the 710 down low. So in the spool up region, kind of in that 3,500 to 4,000 RPM range, the 710 will have a slight advantage because it's smaller and it can spool up faster. What's happening with the 710 and what the 710 tune is doing is it's controlling boost up top, and boost is leveling off or dropping at the very top of the power band because the 710 is only limited to 710 horsepower of airflow. So what we'll see with the 710 is at some point, the 710 and the 810 will both spool up and they'll make about the same power throughout the mid-range. But at the very top of the power band, say starting at 6,000 RPM to redline, the 810 will continue to build power there while the 710 drops off. I'm talking in generalizations here, but this is roughly what you're going to see with two turbos of this difference in size. I don't know how much faster your buddy's G80 is. Those cars are really fast. I don't know what modifications it has, yada yada. But if you think that you could beat him with another, 75, 80 horsepower up top from 6,000 RPM to redline, and if you think you could stay in that sweet spot up top, you could probably make up the difference with an 810. But the 710 tune is not giving you what the 810 is capable.
Right. There's still going to be some more, particularly on that top end, where we're tapering that boost request down to match what the 710 is capable of. It'll be much more of a flatter boost profile, likely with the 810.
The difference in these two turbos is not very big. It's again 100 horsepower on 700 horsepower, so it's a 10% increase, but it's not everywhere. Again, it's only going to be in the top part of the band. It's not like you're going to make 10% more power everywhere with the 810. The 710 810 nomenclature is referring to peak airflow or power. It doesn't speak to what happens below peak. But I guess there's some good news waiting for you is that, yes, an 810 tune will be much more optimized and will be faster by some amount. So hang in. I know this was talked about earlier, but is there a development on the post-throttle body charge pipes for the B9 3.0T? Yes, we are working on that. This is something we started pretty recently, so I don't, they're not going to be shipping like a month or two. But we are working on this product. We understand there's a lot of demand for it. And we will be releasing something in the future, but again, we're pretty new in the process. I just want to drop in and say hi. I try to watch weekly. Thank you. We appreciate that. This is my first Euro B9 S4. This is my first Euro B9 S4. Although I did start with an APR tune, I'm glad I swapped over. I even had problems that your support helped me on. Glad to hear that. My overboost issue was sourced to be a bad silicone coupler underneath the turbo inlet from ECS. Thanks again for everything. 10 out of 10 from all respects. Well, glad we helped get you figured out. Sorry you had a problem with that. Did he say turbo inlet?
Yeah. So
They have a silicone. Oh, ECS.
they have an end.
Okay, cool.
It comes from either charge pipe kit, silicone connector right there.
Yeah.
Under that as well.
What extra mods parts are needed for 810 versus 710?
The ones we list on the website.
We'll let you.
Yep.
We'll let you know, but it's not going to be.
It's probably going to be the same. Yeah, we will have a matching mod list basically for an 810 tune. If we determine there's going to be something else needed, probably have a separate calibration for that. But I can't foresee anything.
But if you have a 710 installed in your car, you're just gonna have to swap in an 810. And you know, any turbo inlets or again, they're very similar turbos. There's not that much difference. I need you guys to make parts for the S38Y. Okay, done. Go check out our website. We have a whole line of products already, and there's a lot more coming. So yes, but yeah, we're just getting started with that. But a lot of the previous generation MPV parts fit that just great. The car is not that much different from
Yeah,
the 8V.5.
the evolution of the
Mm-hmm.
EV.
Will there be a rebuild kit for the B9 density line adjustable upper control arms? Yes, there will be. This is we have an engineering program where we churn out rebuild kits. We usually don't release the rebuild kits when the products are new. This product is not new, so it should have been. If you need any help or support with your adjustable control arm kit, please email contact at 034 and we can sell you the replacement parts that you need. We have a program in customer service where customer service staff are empowered to sell subcomponent items, that aren't listed on the website, things like that. So shoot an email and we'll make sure we get you taken care of. B9 SQ5 upgraded upper and lower control arms. The lowers are different. Limited Can you do a follow up and ask, like, are they looking for an upgrade?
Yes.
What are they
This is
specifically?
specifically set up.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, what? Like, have to do with
Adjustable.
I think
raising and lowering the car.
it's different.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Those control arms are really expensive to tool up. I'm talking like one person's paycheck for a year expensive, and as a result, we have to sell, a lot of them to make up for that. So, yeah, we'll continue to monitor that. Looking to purchase a B9 SQ5, how important would you say the Quattro Sport Diff is? I mean, on an SQ5,
It depends on your driving style, but
it just depends how hard you're going to drive it.
Yeah. It's what will let your vehicle rotate on power. I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't have that, it's going to be the very typical Audi push. Anytime you're on power, you just either lighten up the two insides or just kind of plow ahead through the turn.
But if you're going to use it for, cruising around town,
Yeah.
taking the kids to soccer and
Yeah.
some spirited driving.
If the only time you're getting on it is like the on ramps and things, giving it a straight shot to get up to freeway speeds, you're not going to notice a difference at all.
If you're going to take it on track and things like that, like we do, then it will make a much bigger difference there. But even then, if you're not like an experienced track driver who can do car control and slide the car and get it at the limit of traction, then I personally wouldn't prioritize it too much. Like my Q7, I drive like a fucking maniac, but I wouldn't say I've ever needed it on my Q7. It's just, I just don't drive it like that on the street.
Not a 710 kit on there.
Can I get one?
We had the conversation earlier in the stream about the B9 swap.
Well, it would need some type of supercharger upgrade, but yes.
But
can you speak to where the power band is on the TTE 720 compared to stock turbos? It's going to be a little laggier. It's going to shift it upwards. We'll be able to raise the red. You'll notice, just like the 710 on the 3.0T, that there is a little bit more lag down low, but it more than makes up for it top. So yeah, the RS5 is ridiculous just with our stage 2 file.
Stage 1, you mean?
I'm sorry, our stage 1 plus file. It's very, very fast. So if you haven't done that, I would do that. Start there. So With port injection kits out there for this car and different compression, would it max the A10 710 TTE output?
People think that the 710 isn't maxed out yet for
No,
some
we
reason.
are like tapped out on the 710. Like
Yeah,
we're
the
not
710 is fucking maxed, guys.
like the
In
710's
fact,
done.
we're making 720 with the 710.
No, we're asking it for everything.
I don't know how much more maxed you can get. We're above 100% of what the turbo is rated for.
No, we are basically or we are asking the 710 for what it's got. So no, we're not holding back because of not having port injection or anything like that.
No. I mean,
As turbos get bigger and bigger and bigger, that obviously fuel becomes the issue, but not on the 710.
no, and we've been clear that it's not fuel limited, which is why we have the E60.
Right, and that's what the E60 file was there.
It's not fuel limited. On the full E85 file, yes, it's limited. But the E60 file makes just as much power as the E85 as far as like fuel wise.
Yes, potentially. Yep.
But it runs more boost because it increases the fuel system capacity.
Yep.
So E60 is maxing out the 710. The 710 turbo is the limit. That makes way for the A10. An A10 exists because the 710 has a limit. If the 710 was unlimited,
If we could just put more fuel in there, and
it would be called the TTE Infinity. And that doesn't exist. Is there a way to go stage 3 without E85 and a high pressure fuel pump? You can go without E85,
No, you do need a pump.
but you do need a pump. We chose not to develop a stock high pressure fuel pump tune. We didn't see the point.
Well, no, and on that file on pump, yes, there is a limitation to what the flow
Yeah.
we were able to get out of it on.
But doesn't
on the higher octane
IE
fuels.
go for a stock fuel pump? Yeah. So I mean, it's just we don't see the point.
No,
With
we have a pump coming.
Yeah.
It's one of those supporting mods you really should have done. Just so you're not on
Yeah.
the ragged edge of your stock.
Our pump will be out soon, and then it'll be a very relatively cheap modification.
Yep.
Can I ask? I have most of the supporting mods you offer for my car: springs, strut brace, all inserts. Is there a noticeable difference when adding upper, lower arms, motor mounts, etc., or would these be a worthy upgrade closer to these parts failing? I don't know what car this is.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a B9 S4. Okay, so if your factory control arms are in good or new type condition, simply replacing the lowers isn't going to make that big of a difference. If you do our upper adjustables and you add them a little camber, that will transform the driving experience. Absolutely. The motor mounts, certainly our density, street density mounts will give the car a tighter feel when you get on the throttle and you apply power. It sounds like he's done the sway bars.
yeah, you actually followed. He has done sway bars.
Okay, good. So that's huge. We are hearing about mounts failing. I had someone contact me the other day. They said there's failed at 30,000 miles, and they didn't know they were failed. They went to install ours, and they had leaked out and were collapsed. And then they put in ours, and the car feels like better than a new car. If you have specific questions, just shoot us an email. We're pretty honest about this stuff. Again, we ain't here to like sell you anything you don't.
Yeah, if you don't need it, we're not going to try and sell it to you.
But most of the parts that I would say virtually all the parts we sell for the B9 are in factory replacement. There are upgraded performance parts. So they give you an upgrade in the driving experience to some degree. Some stuff is more noticeable than others. There's only so much you can do with control arms or motor mounts. But if you can optimize your alignment settings, that's pretty dramatic. I got 5 minutes.
Yep.
We want to hit the ETAs. Do a power.
No, not really.
I got questions.
I think I'm good. I think we've already done.
I think we hit most of them, yeah.
Stuff. Is your tune plug and play? Like if I'm taking it to the dealership, can I switch back to the stock tune? If you're on stage 1, yes. If you're on any tune that required hardware modifications, like you've changed your turbocharger, We don't really have any tunes that change injectors, but
Yeah, we do. We have data with the
oh,
LPI injector upgrades.
the DAZA supplementary, port injectors. Yeah, and if your tune came with any hardware changes that support the tune, so again, like the turbo injectors, there used to be things called MAFs, but we haven't seen those, thankfully. Now, if you have an aftermarket intake, you're going to want to probably deal with that as well. Thankfully, those things are pretty quick to swap. Yeah, you can flash back to
From a
stock.
technical level, as far as the tune is concerned, yes, we are flashing back to the stock calibration from Audi. It'll look stock through and through. Depending on the platform, we do on most of the stuff now, everything that's current, we are resetting flash counts on things. So it all depends how deep the dealer wants to dig for whatever reason, but I don't think they're just like turning off warranties and denying things for people that are flashing truly back to stock first. So, we will tell you right up front, though, you potentially have a, non-warrantyable thing after you've done any kind of modification. So, we can't get around what the dealer's choice would be, but we do make every effort we can to make sure it's back to as untraceable in stock as possible.
Yeah. So if you have any further questions beyond what we just answered, let us know. But I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So, for example, if you have a bone stock B9 S4 and you flash your car with stage 1 and nothing else, then you can flash it back to stock and you're good. It's now a stock vehicle again. Now, if you swapped out intakes and other stuff, or if you did our stage 3 and you had a TTE 710 in there, then you can't just flash back to the stock file and keep your 710 on there and expect everything to look stock. It's not going to. So that's the the beauty of stage 1 tunes. You get a nice bump in power with none of the extra potential pitfalls. So it stands to reason that that's the most popular tune that everyone does stage 1. You've been woofed. Woof woof. Thank you. Hopefully that S8's running great. Favorite Audi paint colors? You're kind of talking to the two wrong guys.
Yeah, like literally the last thing we care about. We are not style.
I really don't. Every car I've ever bought, I have not once considered the paint color. Ever.
So fascinating.
Ever. I just don't even give a fuck.
I care more about the interior color. I loathe light colored interiors. Like I do not want a white tan, light gray, anything.
I think
they look terrible. They get dirty if you sit in them. Like they should never be in a vehicle.
The R8 has a cream.
Mm-hmm. And it looks dingy all the time.
Wow, what the fuck?
It's very creamed.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's like I've never seen one that just stayed like that actually gets driven that looks like it should. Black interiors.
My road gray looks great.
What's that?
Okay, we're talking about paint colors here, not
yes. Paint colors. I mean, I like some of the cars that I've had.
There could be a color that I wouldn't drive. I think I might think twice about like a bright yellow car or something really metrosexual. I don't know. Like anything that's like bronze or cherry blossom.
Yeah. You get
metrosexual is. There's nothing wrong with being metrosexual.
Told specifically a year ago that word, so 2003.
It is.
Oh, we're totally
it's way before the Me Too
movement.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I like silver. I like gray. I like
it really doesn't
silver gray.
Do you know how little of the paint
gray
you see while you're driving
nice.
it? Like you see very little paint color.
Gray silver with metallic flakes. That's nice. Black. I've had red cars. I think red's a really nice color.
I like the red. I like my Tornado reds and whatnot. The only problem was they never clear coated them, so they were a disaster to keep up. Black is terrible to keep clean. So
ADTQ was that maroon color.
No, it's over there.
Yeah, I really love that color. It's like a dark, rich red maroon.
That blue, I can't remember what it's called on that. All right, it's also really pretty. My brother-in-law's is that color.
But there's no bad colored. There's just no bad colored R8.
Nope.
So my favorite paint color is yes. Does it have paint? I even like Nardo, which is arguably not even paint.
They all have their.
It's just, to me, it's a very superficial part of the car, and it's a color.
I do know somebody that did their 8J TTRS in that Porsche creamy. That was terrible. That was terrible.
That's Dean Treadway.
I wasn't gonna drop names, but it was it looked horrible. I mean, he
I
loved
mean,
it because it matched his previous.
a personal
cars. It was a
preference for
personal
me.
like, signature color. From
I mean, that's a perfect example of, you know, when someone goes through a huge effort to get a certain paint color or whatever, and they just don't even care. And like, it could have been black, it could have been silver, it could have been red. It's just as good to me. Like, how does it drive?
Like we try and get neutralish colors for the company vehicle so we can logo them up and whatnot, but still, it's like lately it's been like, what's on the lot? What can we do?
Well, yeah, these days you can't be picky. I mean, that's the other issue, is the position that I take is a very good one in this timing.
Yeah, just whatever.
Day.
Paint doesn't make it go any faster or slower.
Oh, you cared about the paint color? Get the fuck out of here. You're gonna pay double for whatever we have. It might not even have paint or chips in it.
We're slowly breaking through the not just silver wheels thing, so
Yeah,
we're getting there. It's
exactly.
we're much more the function and form guys.
Yeah. Well, I think
We're out of time here.
I saw an M4 the other day that had like paint that looked like a wrap. That looked it just looked different and new.
So are people painting wraps then? Like
Matte finish with factory.
It's a semi-gloss basically finish, which sounds like a nightmare
terrible
to maintain or
yeah.
to
Oh,
like I don't know what that's gonna look like in 10 years. It's gonna be like part of it's gonna be
like there's kid handprinting all over it. And,
All right, I think we're out of time, guys. So appreciate you joining us this week. We will see you next week. I think.
Thanks for all the questions.
All right, cheers. Later.